Hey guys, today we're going to be installing rear set brackets on our CB750 project. So you can purchase the kit complete or you can build it out a la carte. The first component we have here is the DOHC universal rear sets, the universal cafe racer linkage, the brake arm adapter, the shifter adapter, the rear set brackets, and the optional rear master cylinder bracket. So we're going to be showing you two different configurations of these rear sets. The first will be stock brake linkage for drum brake, and the second will be for master cylinders and disc brakes. So first we're going to remove the brake pedal. Next we're going to remove the foot peg, which is 17. And now we're going to remove the swing arm pivot bolt nut. So here on this side of the bike, the nuts on the other side have made it loose, but we're going to have to tap it from the other side to get it to come through. Now that the foot peg's off, I'm just going to put this back in here for the time being and remove the shifter. So once you pull this swing arm bolt, there's nothing holding the swing arm in there. Generally it doesn't move. If you want, you could put a screwdriver or maybe a socket extension from the other side just to hold things in place. We're just going to be quick with it and we should be fine. Alright, so now we're going to put this through here and stick it back. And it moved. Now we're going to go ahead and pull this one, put that through, and move them in together. So before I tighten it back, I'm going to go ahead and put the rear set on here. If you do leave this passenger peg, you don't have a whole lot of room to get a wrench on there. We're probably going to cut this off later, but for right now we're going to leave it. So let me go ahead and grab the rear sets. We're going to slip this through, and then we're going to put the washer and nut on the other side. So now that you're tightening it, we have a folding peg. You want to set your orientation as you tighten it down. We prefer them a little more towards the front. Alright, so for the brake side, we want to use the straight. This angle that this is at may or may not work. So to get this loose and reorient it, we're just going to take a rag, cover it, put some channel locks on here, and spin that off. We can pull it up. It's got a locating pin right there. Bring it around, depending on what you need. For this case, it over in here. You can move this pin around to get finer adjustment. Now that we've got the position we want, we're going to thread this back on and lock it back down with the channel locks. We're going to put the spring arm nut back, and put the motor mount bolt back. Alright, now that we have that mounted, we're going to go ahead and attach the brake arm spline here. So now that you have the brake adapter mounted where you want it, go ahead and tighten it down. We're going to line these two up. This can move on the shaft. We're going to slide it in. So we're going to take these two clevis components that came with the universal rear sets and like that, and we're going to mount the second one here. Alright, so that actually looks pretty good. So now that we've attached the little clevises, we're going to put a piece of threaded rod that we're going to cut from the universal rear set linkage. The longer thread that you put in there controls where your foot pedal is. You know, you can put threaded rod, maybe a couple jam nuts or something, depending on where things fall. In this case, you know, it looks pretty good where it is. I think we'll just put threaded rod in there, maybe a nut. We'll see how it goes. So here we're going to put two jam nuts so we can get the orientation right. Put that in there to keep it from rotating. So now that everything's mounted, your brake switch that's on the inside here still works. This is pulling the linkage for the drum brake. You're good to go on the brake side. So over here on the shifter side, we're going to recycle this bolt from the original shifter, put it into the new linkage. There's a groove in the spline for the bolt, so this won't walk. We're going to go ahead and put this in place first, and then put the bolt. Okay. So now we're going to take this rod end from the Cafe Racer linkage kit, put it through here. Go ahead and mount it on the back, on the rear set. Now we're going to take the rod, the outside rod tube from the Cafe Racer linkage and set the length that we want. Looks good about there. Just going to mark it off. Now we're gonna cut it here, and we're gonna take the threaded rod that was inside here, and we're just gonna make it a touch longer so that we have thread on each end to go into the rod ends. thread this side in. I'm going to pull this back off. Thread this side on. I'm just going to tighten this up until it's parallel with the rear set. Put the bolt back through. The nut on the back. Alright, so ideally you want this upright, you want this side upright, so you get a nice clean pull, even. This side's a little close in, it's still okay. Sometimes you might have to put, a wash or something back here to shim this rod out so you don't bind the rod end. Alright. Alright, now this side's all set. So on this particular build, we're not going to be using the drum brake, we're going to be using one of our discs. So now we're going to show you how to set up the master cylinder on the rear set brackets. So this part won't be used. We're going to go ahead and take that off. So all of our rear sets will come with a cutaway for the rear brake master cylinder adapter. Just attaches here like this. A couple screws. So this bracket is for 2006 and up GSXR master cylinders. You can pick them up new or used pretty much anywhere. It's a pretty popular component. And it just mounts here like this. You've got some slots here that allow for adjustment up and down and front to back. We're going to go ahead and mount that. Yeah. Okay, so you've got some adjustment up and down, and what that's for is to get this aligned properly. You want to keep this in a straight line, ideally. Okay, so you can see this isn't lining up. That's not going to put the pedal where we want it. Actually, it is going to put the pedal where, no, it's a little high. We're going to leave this where it is, and this has got some adjustment here that we can bring it in. So now that we know where we want it, we're going to go ahead and lock it all down. So now that we have the brake master back and using the pin that came with the GSXR master cylinder, we're going to place this back up here and lock it back down. Alright, so now that everything's mounted, you're going to want to find a place to mount your brake master cylinder reservoir. You'll have to add a switch because this is no longer being used. All this can be removed. Probably a pressure switch would be good. Kind of keep things tidy rather than attaching a pull. That's it. So that's how you install the Cognito Moto rear set kit for your dual overhead cam CB750. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us directly or comment below. Thanks for watching.
estimate.